Imagine this. You're lying there, late at night. The world has quieted down. There are no more messages, no more distractions, and yet there it is. That pull, that sensation. That old longing that you can't quite silence. It's not new. It's not even about a person anymore, at least not fully. It's something deeper, something older, something that's been haunting you for longer than you realize. You close your eyes and try to ignore it. You tell yourself, I'm fine, I don't need this, and yet, the pull remains. What is this dark side of desire? Why does it seem to haunt us, no matter how much we grow, learn, and heal? And why does it often return? Stronger, deeper, the more we try to deny it. Carl Jung believed that desire, especially unfulfilled or forbidden desire, was not something to be suppressed or erased. It was a mirror, a reflection of the parts of us we haven't integrated yet. When desire haunts you, it's not because you are broken, it's because there is something within you that still longs to be seen. You see, desire is not random. It's not a mistake. It's a language. When you feel an overwhelming attraction, when you yearn for something or someone that seems wrong for you, when you return to old fantasies, even when you think you've moved on, it's not because you're weak, it's because there's a message. And most of the time, we don't listen. We shame ourselves instead. We try to be better. We try to move past it. But what we resist persists, and what we repress returns in darker forms. Carl Jung taught that the psyche is not linear, it's not logical, it's symbolic. The desires that haunt you are symbols, not of what you literally want, but of what your unconscious is trying to show you. When you crave someone unattainable, when you yearn for a feeling you once had, when you obsess over the wrong person, it's rarely about that person. It's about the part of you that's still incomplete, the hunger that hasn't been acknowledged, the story that hasn't been rewritten. You may think, but I've done the work. I've healed. And yet desire is ancient. It goes deeper than conscious healing. There are parts of you that still live in the shadows, parts of you that ache for expression. And when those parts remain unseen, unspoken, unmet, they manifest as haunting desire you crave. Because you are still incomplete, not incomplete as a flaw, but incomplete as a human being still becoming whole. Jung called this the process of indiv way. Becoming whole is not about killing desire. It's about understanding it, integrating it. When you deny your dark desires, you don't become better. You become fragmented. Split. One part of you pretends to be above it, but the other part, the shadow, grows stronger in silence. That's why it haunts you. Not because it is wrong, but because it needs to be met. Consciously, when you feel that longing, that ache, that obsession that seems to have no logic, ask yourself, what is this really about? What is this part of me asking for? What is the unmet need beneath this craving? Because it's never just about the surface. It's about something older, something deeper. Perhaps a longing for connection, for freedom, for expression, for wholeness. The danger is not in the desire itself. The danger is in how you relate to it. If you deny it, it will leak out in ways you don't control. If you indulge it blindly, it will consume you. But if you face it with curiosity, with honesty, with compassion, it can transform you. It can become the doorway to a deeper self. That is the dark side of desire, not darkness as evil, but darkness as the unknown. The parts of you you haven't yet met. The emotions you haven't yet held. The truths you haven't yet spoken. When you turn toward it, you begin to integrate. You begin to heal. You begin to become whole. Carl Jung wrote, until you make the unconscious conscious. It will direct your life and you will call it fate. Desire is one of the clearest mirrors of the unconscious. It shows you where you are still incomplete. It shows you where you still have work to do, and when you can face that without shame, you reclaim your power. You reclaim yourself, because in the end, it was never about them. It was always about you. Before we continue, if you'd like to dive even deeper into understanding the hidden patterns shaping your relationships and desires, you can explore the Jung method. I'll leave the link for you in the first comment below. Now, let's continue. There's something about the dark side of desire that most people misunderstand. We are taught to think of it as something bad, something shameful, something to resist, avoid, eliminate. But Carl Jung saw it differently. He believed that the dark is not evil. It is simply that which is unconscious, unknown, unseen, and it is only by bringing it into the light of awareness that it can stop haunting you. Think about this. Why is it that certain cravings, certain fantasies, return again and again? Why is it that even after years of growth, a part of you can still be pulled toward the wrong person? The forbidden connection. The past that you thought you left behind. It's not because you failed. It's because the unconscious has its own rhythms. Desire is one of its languages. When you are haunted by desire, it is a sign that something in your psyche is still in shadow. It might be an unmet need. It might be a part of you that was suppressed long ago. It might be an energy that was never allowed healthy expression. But whatever it is not wrong, it is not shameful. It is human, and if you approach it with curiosity instead of guilt, it can reveal exactly what part of you needs to be healed. Let's go deeper. Why do we so often crave what we can't have? Jung would say because our conscious mind is only one layer. Beneath it lives the shadow, the unconscious, and the shadow is drawn to that which represents what we have denied in ourselves. When you yearn for the unavailable lover, perhaps it's because they embody a freedom you have denied yourself. When you fantasize about a situation that feels dangerous, perhaps it's because your life has been too controlled, too safe, too small. When you return to old obsessions, perhaps it's because a part of you is still trapped in the past, longing to be released. In other words, desire is rarely literal. It is symbolic. It points you to what is missing in your life or in your psyche. And this is why repressing it doesn't work. You can ignore the feeling. You can pretend it's not there. You can shame yourself for wanting what you want. But the unconscious doesn't work that way. What you refuse to face will come back stronger. This is why the same patterns repeat. The same obsessions return. The same longings haunt you because until you look at the root, the symptom remains. So the real work is not in fighting desire. The real work is in understanding it, to ask yourself, what does this craving represent? What is the unmet part of me beneath it? What is this fantasy trying to tell me about myself? When you do this honestly, you start to integrate what was missing, you. Give voice to the denied part of yourself, and slowly, the desire stops haunting you. It no longer controls you, because you have faced it. Remember this: desire haunts us only when it is repressed. When it is acknowledged, explored, understood, it becomes integrated. It becomes a part of you. A source of power, not shame. Carl Jung wrote, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This is the path of true healing, not denying the dark, but making it conscious, making it known, making it yours. When you understand this, you stop fearing your own depths. You stop being ashamed of your longings. You start seeing them for what they really are: messages, mirrors, portals to the deeper self. Think of the times when desire haunted you most. What were you really seeking? Was it love, freedom, safety, expression, power? The object of desire is often a stand-in, a symbol for what your soul craves most. When you can see this, you begin to take your power back, no longer pulled by unconscious forces, but guided by conscious awareness. You begin to choose, instead of being chosen by your cravings, how to begin healing your relationship with desire. You want to begin healing this relationship with desire? The first step is to release the shame. Understand that desire is not a flaw. It is a part of being human. It is ancient. It is natural. It is a force neither good nor bad until you decide how to work with it. The second step is to observe without judgment. When the craving comes, pause, feel it. Ask, what is this really about? What part of me is speaking through this longing? The third step is expression. Desire trapped in the body becomes compulsion. But when given voice, when moved consciously, it transforms. For some, that expression is through words. For others, through movement, through art, through deep inner reflection. Find ways to give this desire space in healthy, conscious forms. And finally, recognize that healing is not about never feeling desire. It is about being free from its grip, free to choose, free to be with it without fear, free to move through life as a whole person. This is the path Jung pointed to, not perfection, not purity, but wholeness, to become fully yourself with your light and your dark, with your desire and your awareness. This is the journey of individuation. This is the way home. To you so tonight, when that old pull returns, when that ache you can't quite name rises again, remember, it is not weakness, it is not failure. It is a message, an invitation to meet yourself more fully, to embrace what is still in shadow, to become whole.